All right, 20 ozonic fragrances. 10 are targeted to men and 10 are unisex targeted, but all are very ozonic. So if you want to find out what they are, then please stay tuned. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian with Smelling Great Fragrance Reviews. Yes, ozonic fragrances, watery, light, and airy fragrances that feature different notes that act very ozonic to me. And I've got 10 that are specifically targeted to men. And of course, if you like the way it smells and you're a woman, wear them. And then 10 are unisex targeted, so both men and women can wear them. It just depends on what you like and things like that. So, but they're all very, very ozonic experiences. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about what ozonic means. But before I get to the fragrances, if this is your first time tuning into the channel and you still haven't subscribed to the channel, please do click the subscribe button below. And also click the bell so that you'll be notified for future videos and giveaways. So ozonic fragrances are fragrances that is, of course, as I said, watery. And they are very light and airy. So to me, ozonic fragrances are not marine. They don't smell like the sea. But I guess some people can associate marine or aquatic fragrances to be ozonic. But I can distinguish my fragrances that are aquatic but not smelling of the sea to also be ozonic, because I just don't associate ozonic with being marine or sea. But these definitely are ozonic, and they're very watery, light, and airy experiences wearing them. And some of the notes that I find to be ozonic are violet leaves, which I've spoken a lot about, and a lot of the 10 men's fragrances that are targeted to men use violet leaves. It's a very masculine note. And then, of course, there's also things like cucumbers. If there's cucumbers in the fragrances as a note, they definitely tend to go ozonic. And I always mention ozonic fragrances. If you look inside a cucumber sliced, what you see in there is what you experience as an ozonic fragrance. Also, there are notes like lotus flower or any kind of like watery floral note, I believe, will go ozonic as well. So ozonic is just watery to me, and as I said, light and airy. So these fragrances all feature ozonic notes. And we're going to start off with the first one. We're going to the men's fragrances first. Portrayal Man from AMOUAGE. And here, you know, people have said this reminds them of Fahrenheit. I could see that very, 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 very lightly. But this focuses on juniper berries, violet leaves, and vetiver. And of course, Fahrenheit is known for violet leaves as well. But this is kind of a spicy green aromatic experience, very masculine. There's a little bit of a cuminy touch that comes up in there as well, so it's got like this crackling kind of spiciness thrown in that I find to be very, very classy. It's elegant, but you know, a little on the daring side, not necessarily very conventional, but a beautiful scent. I love this release from this house. I think it's a great masculine, slightly edgy kind of release from AMOUAGE for men. Now, definitely, I've said in the past that AMOUAGE fragrances are kind of gender bending. You know, the women's targeted ones sometimes end up being masculine. Men's targeted ones sometimes end up being feminine. This one definitely is masculine. It leans masculine. So Portrayal Man is great, great ozonic fragrance featuring violet leaves. This next one is from the house of ZEGNA. This is UOMO. So this is an overdose of ozonic touches, and it features violet leaves, citruses, bergamot, vetiver, cedar. But for me, the combination also feels like there's some black pepper in there. When I wear it, peppery notes pop through. But the violet leaves are pretty prominent, and it's an overly ozonic experience. When you wear this fragrance, you can totally experience water, you know, the ozonic touches. A great scent. This is ZEGNA's UOMO. If you don't know it, do check it out. I don't know if many people talk about that one or not, but I found it to be a great deal at a budget price recently when I found it somewhere for sale. The next one is DIOR's Fahrenheit, this one right here. Definitely a violet leaves experience, but this is a magical fragrance, a very historic fragrance. Historic for the 80s. Absolutely love the way it smells. Leather, violet leaves, lavender, nutmeg, cedar, sandalwood, musk, amber, patchouli. At one point I was really dissing this fragrance because it had gotten lighter from when I remember it back in the 80s, but I've kind of like circled back and enjoying it for what it is, because it reminds me of the late 80s and late high school years for me. And I've gone past the fact that it's been reformulated and kind of watered down, but that smell, I can still remember the days of the late 80s in high school. It's such a great scent, but it's very watery when it has really like deep depth in there with the leather and some of the more masculine notes that are in there. The violet leaves just throws it into kind of a watery, as I said, ozonic kind of a direction. So it has a light and airy kind of an experience with the violet leaves, but when you get past that, it's got this very dense quality to it. Either way, Dior Fahrenheit, what a wonderful fragrance it is. Very historic fragrance for me. The next one is a popular men's fragrance, Green Irish Tweed from the house of Creed. Again, you can experience that watery, light, airy quality when you smell this one. It's right there. I mean, it's totally, just put it in your nose. It's almost like rain coming down and hitting like the inside of vegetables. Cucumbers keeps coming up. So this one has violet leaves, lemon, verbena, ambergris, sandalwood, and iris. There is a light powdery touch, but when you're wearing this one, it's almost like you're wearing rain, kind of, you know? Do you guys get that experience? That's what I get with this one quite a bit. So for the longest time, I had a love-hate relationship with this, because when I was in my late teens after this, I was wearing a lot of Aspen, so I got so burnt out on Aspen, it reminded me of this. But recently I've kind of circled back to this and I'm enjoying the qualities of this fragrance. Green Irish Tweed, a great classy masculine men's fragrance from the house of Creed. Alright, this next one is from the house of Narciso Rodriguez, and it's For Him. Overdose of violet leaves once again. It's a sort of a modern fougere with lots of patchouli, musk, and amber. Very unique fragrance, a great fragrance from master perfumer Francis Kurkdjian. He's given us some great historic fragrances. This is one of them. Really intense experience, although it has been watered down since when I first bought my fragrance. I still have an original bottle up there. This is a tester I bought online. The cap is from the original bottle, but a great scent. You know, it smells watery. It smells like you know, water hitting the pavement kind of thing. So there's that really major ozonic quality with this one that I really like. But there's, even though it's kind of like a watery experience, it is intense. I mean, even now it's intense. It used to be a lot more intense, but it just has a kind of a depth, deep richness about it. Even though we're talking about light and airy, watery touches with the ozonic quality here with the violet leaves. Either way, Narciso Rodriguez For Him, a great scent. If you don't know it, do check it out. The next one I'm talking about is a fragrance from a house I don't speak much about. It's ARQUISTE, and it's ALEKSANDR. Male targeted fragrance. I think it's a male targeted fragrance. I believe it is, but it's unisex enough for a woman to wear. But this one actually, even though it's violet leaves, when I smell them, I could smell violets, the flowers in there as well. So lots of violet leaves, flower of the violet, of course, violet flower, Russian leather, neroli, balsam fir, musk, birch tar, orris, oak moss, aldehydes. It's really nice. In fact, I'm going to spray some on because I haven't put on anything today. Yeah. Very ozonic, but also very floral and powdery with this one. A great scent. It's really beautiful. And, you know, it does lean masculine, but the violets actually, as the flowers, definitely kind of goes into a unisex direction. Check it out. ARQUISTE ALEKSANDR, a great scent if you don't know it. The next one I'm talking about is LALIQUE's Hommage à l'Homme. Overdose of violet leaves once again, and here we also have violets, the flowers, but it's not as intense as ALEKSANDR, so it's more ozonic for me here than it is in the ALEKSANDR. But loads of violet leaves, violets, saffron, oud, and labdanum. There is a bit of a spicy black peppery touch in here with oud and labdanum. Kind of hints at this one a little bit, not a lot, but you know, it has that kind of watery ozonic touch obviously running throughout all of these fragrances with the violet leaves. But a beautiful fragrance. You know, LALIQUE impresses me with their quality of their fragrances. They have some really great quality original scents in comparison to other designers like, you know, Valentino, Armani, or, you know, YSL and things like that. So if you like original men's fragrances that won't break your bank, definitely check out the collection from LALIQUE, especially this one, Hommage à l'Homme, with its kind of ozonic violet leaves note. Another one that's targeted to men from the house of Bentley, it's Bentley for Men AZURE. Here we have a beautiful watery ozonic touch with lots of violet leaves, and there's some fruity touches of pineapple with tea, tangerine, bergamot, cashmere wood, tonka beans, and clary sage. It is a very watery experience. It's very light and airy as well. It's almost like rain with tea and, you know, fruits and things like that. That's the experience I get with this one. The name might not make sense. Azure, I guess maybe water that's kind of raining when it's warm outside. I guess it does rain when it's warm outside. I kind of like that kind of rain, and I think this one definitely captures kind of like a warm rain with all the fruits and aromatic notes and things like that. So that is Azure from Bentley. It's Bentley for Men AZURE. This one actually is strictly targeted to men as well. We've got one more after this one, so we're going to be done with the male targeted fragrances. But this is from the house of Marc-Antoine Barrois, and this is Ganymede. A very, very sexy, musky, classy experience. So this one has mineral notes, violet leaves, immortelle, mandarin orange, osmanthus. But man, it's good. It's really, really, really beautiful. It's ozonic, it's light and airy. There's watery touches running throughout it. And of course, the minerally touches are in here as well. The immortelle has some dried kind of dried leafy kind of qualities. The osmanthus has some light fruity touches, because I do experience a little bit of I'm getting more like apple crispness rather than like typical of osmanthus, which should be like stone fruit like apricots. But overall, what a great fragrance this is. It's targeted to men. I find this one to be very unisex for women to wear as well. So that's Marc-Antoine Barrois, Ganymede. And the last men's fragrance I'm going to talk to you about is KITON Black, this one right here. And this one is a feature of notes of violet with violet leaves and of course leather. So violet leaves and leather together comes makes for a beautiful experience. We also have thrown in some red berries notes, cyclamen, vetiver, amber, tonka beans, and bergamot and cedar. It's a very, very classy fragrance, and I like the whole combination of the violet leaves with the violet flower. But with this one, it's more ozonic and airy and light and watery rather than the flower where it becomes overly powdery. But you do pick up the traces of the violet flowers in here. That leather, though, cuts it down and makes it a little more of a masculine offering and a little bit of a darker experience in comparison to the original KITON Man or Men fragrance. But a great scent. Look for a review of this and the original release from this house very soon. I've got a video shot that I'm going to be editing very soon, as I feel like this and the previous version of KITON for Men are both very, very excellent, classy men's offerings. Moving on to the unisex offerings, we've got Violet Shot here for the first one. And Violet Shot is such a beautiful fragrance. It's violet leaves, we've got green notes, we've got vanilla, there's some patchouli, there's ambery touches of labdanum, juicy mandarin orange, pink pepper, and safraline. But you know what? This to me kind of reminds me of Fahrenheit Le Parfum a little bit, because, you know, Fahrenheit Le Parfum, or Fahrenheit in general, is violet leaves. And of course you have that vanilla in there with that fragrance, and here you have it in there. So because of those two combined together, kind of reminds me of that fragrance. So it has a kind of a gourmand quality to it, because it has the vanilla in here. So it makes for a beautiful wear. It's kind of a cozy, comfortable fragrance, but at the same time you have the light, airy, watery touches of the violet leaves thrown in, which makes for a beautiful, beautiful composition. Created by one of my favorite perfumers, Dominic Ropion. This is Olfactive Studios Violet Shot. If you don't know it, do check it out. Alright, the next one we're going to talk about is a fragrance from the house of CARNER, Barcelona. This is Salado, this one right here. I like the name. Salado is a very, very unique name because it features lots of cucumbers, and that's where we're getting the ozonic touches today with this particular fragrance. Salado has lots of salt, and that's kind of the reason why I feel like Salado almost reminds me of salad, because cucumbers and salt you're going to put together to make a salad kind of a thing. Not necessarily like that, but that's why it reminds me of this. But the cucumbers are in here very, very juicy and watery. It's very, very light and airy, and, you know, as I said, watery with the cucumbers. Just as I said, visualize the inside of a cucumber when you think of ozonic notes, and that's what it'll remind you of. And obviously here it's very literal with the cucumbers. So cucumbers, green, bitter, juicy, woody, leaves of the orange tree with the petitgrain. There's orange blossom, there's some salt, as I said, musk, bergamot, pink pepper, and woods. It's a great watery, light, airy, you know, vegetal kind of an experience for a fragrance. It's Carner Barcelona Salado. Check it out if you don't know it. This next one is from the house of Art de Parfum. This is gin and tonic. Gin and tonic is definitely a very ozonic experience with juniper berries, grapefruit, and once again we've got cucumbers. Cucumbers, to me, ozonic all the way. I love that experience. It's just a watery, light, airy, slightly vegetal kind of experience. The gin is in here, lemon zest, cedar, musk, vetiver, ambergris. It's a great fragrance. It's very, very crisp and fresh, very refreshing. As I said, light and airy and watery. And the experience is definitely like a gin and tonic. We have another fragrance that's sort of like this that I'm going to speak about in a minute. But if you don't know this house, do check it out. If you like the idea of gin and tonic, definitely check this one out. This is Art de Parfum Gin and Tonic. The next one focuses on lotus flower, and it's from the house of Commodity. It's Rain. Lotus flower, lemon, verbena, freesia, jasmine, bergamot, musk, vetiver, and woods. And Rain, to me, is very ozonic to begin with. Watery, light, airy kind of a thing. And here I totally experienced this ozonic touches with lotus flower, especially the fact that you know, they have this quality to them. And here with this particular fragrance, it's a beautiful aquatic ozonic experience, whereas it doesn't go marine, but of course it's very, very watery, just a rain coming down. Of course, a beautiful fragrance, very, very light and airy. For this one, it's very, very exactly like that. It just wears like rain, like you've just been rained on, you know. When you like that idea, definitely try Rain from the house of Commodity. So that's Rain. All right, this next one's from the house of the Harmonist. It's Guiding Water. Love, love, love this one. Really, really beautiful. So this one actually is so watery. When you put your nose to it, it's just, you just smell water. Like the experience of water is there. But it has, according to notes, ozonic notes. So they're kind of making ozonic notes accord to have that. So most likely there's something like cucumbers, or there's probably something like violet leaves in here, maybe even lotus flower. But obviously they do credit lotus flower in here. Ozonic notes, watermelon, cyclamen, pink pepper, lily, musk, and jasmine. But it's fruity, it's wet, watery, airy, light, beautiful fragrance. But you know, even though it acts light, the fragrances from the Harmonist do have intensity. They're pretty intense, and I like that about them. And I love this one. And I normally don't care for watermelon or melon notes, but here it's really, really wonderful. So that is the Harmonist with Guiding Water. The next one also features lots of melons. It's Parlez-moi de Parfum, and it's Eau Provence. Melons, lavender, watermelon, and narcissus. So I like the whole fusion of melons and watermelons with lavender. I like the combination, and of course it's called Eau Provence. Provence is known for the lavender. So I really like this fruitiness, ozonic, airy, light kind of cucumbery touches. Maybe it's from cucumbers, maybe it's from violet leaves, maybe it's just from the watermelons and melons acting very ozonic. But it just nicely blends with the aromatic, beautiful lavender in here. And throw in a little bit of narcissus and you have a great, great fragrance. If you like fruity fragrances, leaning aquatic, ozonic, definitely try Eau Provence from the house of Parlez-moi de Parfum. Now this one is definitely a unique aquatic ozonic experience. It's Balade Sauvage from DIOR, and this one also is very minerally. It has ozonic notes, it has solar notes, aquatic notes, and of course fig and fig fruit in here. So it's become one of my favorite Maison Christian Dior fragrances, because just love figs and fragrances. But even though a lot of fig fragrances can start smelling very similar, I like this one because it has those weird twists with the ozonic notes, the minerals, the solar notes, and aquatic notes. Really, really great fragrance. Totally a different take on figs, and I I love it. I really love this one. So check it out, Dior Balade Sauvage. If you don't know it, I recommend that one as a great fragrance from Maison Christian Dior. So the next one I'm going to talk to you about also is the idea of gin and tonic, just like our Art de Parfum's gin tonic. But this time it's Roses on Ice from Kilian, by Kilian. So in here, very, very ozonic and watery touch in here. Totally stand out. But it features lots of cucumbers, juniper berries, musk, sandalwood, rose, and lime. Inspired by Hendrick's Gin and Tonic. Of course, Hendrick's Gin is made with roses and cucumbers, or distilled with those two ingredients. And of course, when you have an Hendrick's Gin and Tonic, they add cucumbers. And the experience is totally true. It just acts like that. There was a time I was drinking tons of gin tonic made with Hendrick's, and I remember it smelling or experiencing the way this fragrance smells. So if you like that idea, definitely try Roses on Ice. I don't think it's as popular as Angel's Share with the other bottle that's in this collection, but it's pretty good, it smells very, very authentic to me, like a gin tonic with Hendrick's gin. So that's Roses on Ice. If you don't know it, do check it out. The next one I'm going to talk to you about is called Histoires de Parfums. This is not a blue bottle 1.5, this one right here. Here we have a very minerally, earthy, ozonic experience with lots of aldehydes, lots of ambroxan, mineral notes, musk, floral notes. So if you like musky, clean fragrances, definitely try this one. This is not a blue bottle 1.5. The ozonic notes are pretty prominent here. It's very, very light, airy, and watery. And it's a nice contrast with ambroxan, Aldehydes adds the fizziness. Aldehydes are also light and airy to me. They give a lift to fragrances. So it's almost like you're floating in air. Not literally, but I think the experience might come off that way. Of course, the mineral notes are in here as well. It's an overly musky experience, and there are some light floral touches. Gorgeous scent. If you don't know it, do check it out. Histoires de Parfums. This is not a blue bottle, 1.5. And I'm going to end the list with this one from the house of Tiziana Terenzi. It's Fuoco Nero. So this one to me is an ozonic aquatic experience. And we're kind of getting really close to kind of like seawater, marine kind of a smell, because this one blends ozonic notes with salts, and salt and seawater kind of go hand in hand. So salt, ozonic notes, lime, juniper berries, lemon, lavender, oak moss, cardamom, bergamot. This one is unisex targeted, but I feel like it's definitely leans a little on the masculine side, but doesn't matter, Juniper berries to me always leans masculine to begin with, so here it makes sense that it's going that way. But of course, I like it. I like the saltiness with the ozonic touches and the citruses and the juniper berry aromatic touches of lavender all together. It's a beautiful blend, a unique one for Tiziana Terenzi, but I quite like it. And for a time, I didn't care for salty fragrances. Now I do. So it's the nice balance of the saltiness with the airy, watery, ozonic touches of ozonic notes. So this is Tiziana Terenzi Fuoco Nero, and that's the last fragrance that I'm speaking about today. Are you a fan of ozonic fragrances? Had you known about ozonic fragrances before you watched this video? If you hadn't known about it, now that you've seen this video and you've heard about the fragrances, is there anyone that stands out to you that you'd like to try? Let me know, put some comments down. Also, if you have a favorite ozonic fragrance that I did not speak about today, please do let me know. I'd like to check them out for future videos. Other than that, guys, thanks so much for tuning in today. If you have any questions or comments, please list below. Otherwise, please like this video, please share it, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.